Well, previously I said wait 2 years. About a month later, the first main patch has dropped and shows promise. So let's get back in there. Right back at it. Round 2, Parisi. Once more, to frank it up. Things are probably more playable now. As far as I've seen, they're moving in a good direction. Of course, already all over the place you're going to see UI improvements. All sorts of UI elements have been moved around and condensed and layered up, made more visible. There's a bit more color in the UI. They acknowledge that marble on marble on marble is really unreadable. A bunch of buttons and bars have been condensed to fit together better. A bunch of additional information has been properly put on display so you can make sensible decisions. Like, look, I'm going to promote a pop, and it will tell you exactly what this is going to do so that you know. So that it can be cleanly spelled out that while we are here, you know, in tribe mode as a tribe, promoting tribesmen is a downgrade. Having a tribesman is preferable to having a fremen and a slave. Yeah, there's all sorts of scattered things that'll have to be looked at and seen how they behave in motion. Yeah, the 4 flavors of abstract currency, the powers are still here. I don't have any problem with those existing. They're fine. They're reevaluating what each of these is for and how much of it should be spent in which ways. Biggest change to the number bar that has happened at this point, taking stability off of the ±3 scale. It's now a smooth, continuous. 50 is neutral, 100 is some sort of prosperous golden age, and 0 is interesting times. And instead of modifying stability in discrete chunks, you put modifiers on there. It acts kind of like Prestige does in Euro. You put modifiers to give pressure up or down on your number. And I don't know how much of it has been implemented yet, but there's been mention of setting up opportunities to spend stability, aggression, tyranny, etc., as though they were currencies to get things done. Have corruption spending mechanics. Alright, let's get started figuring out a France. Yeah, once again, the goal in general is going to be the same. As it well, let's just pop over, actually push that button. And then get some things underway. So, military idea. Get morale up. Take that corruption sink. Get our bonus. They got plenty of pie charts sitting everywhere to help be sure that you can visualize the composition of your country. That thing that's central to how gameplay even flows. So, government screen. Government screen has been rearranged a bunch. Main panel has been condensed down. This space is here because a lot of governments give you a way to have a pair of complementary co-rulers. You use best of their two stats. But if your co-ruler is, you know, corrupt and disloyal, shenanigans follow. Office menu is just off over here. Laws menu, still as it was. Here be laws. And on this run, I'm going to consider staying at moderate centralization for a while. To take advantage of the tribal retinues, which have also been scaled down. There was acknowledgement that the clan retinues were way too big. Most intriguing off this screen, though, we got buttons. There's buttons here for government. I can summon the War Council and get a CB in exchange for doing some politics. I could spend a bunch of number to get ready for raiding. When I'm specifically going out to fight and try to capture slaves. Sports! You can pay for sports! And encouraging migration, which this button seems weird. I don't see what situation I would push this button in. I guess if we were settled and wanted to expel some tribal population that was being difficult for us. We'll see. So, military... there's many types of boat now, ranging from small to big. The small boats do best fighting on rivers. The progressively larger boats are more expensive but more fighty. And there is a bit of a concept of naval terrain. There's like shallow water, deep water, inward water, long water. The various shapes of ground the boat can fight on. You know, the damp ground. And so, other things, religions are now being more differentiated. Each religion has a different set of omens. And some of these are, interesting. Like, okay, we have an omen for boosting development, or toughening fortresses. Bleeding war exhaustion. Or boosting our citizens. Lucia is still there. Lucia. No, like, geography changes have occurred to the map as far as I know of. No major ones. Guess what takes citizen output for now? And then so also stability boost, now that it's showing the details since I can't afford it now, but that's boost to stability over a span of time, but it's a stackable modifier. Similarly, the war exhaustion sync changed to work the same way. Economy. Gonna stay in neutral stance because it's clear that having allies to leverage against my rivals, having a good alliance block is going to be important during the Thunderdome. And the Thunderdome will persist for centuries, perhaps indefinitely. Import grain. I think mercenaries have also been toned down a bit. Just at a glance, the companies seem less big. For now, at least. Someone good at fighting and finesse is exactly who we need. Good at finesse and religion and okay at fighting, yeah. Harsh and greedy. Sure. You can scheme. We have a scheming slot. Or we know of someone scheming. No, that is us engaged in a scheme. Somewhere, apparently. Siphoning funds. As you do. Yeah, so there's some semblance of plotting mechanics that have been put into play. We can set what the tribal retinues will use for their unit composition. Just to standardize that, to not have the chiefs buying into stuff we don't like using. You don't know what your own leader is doing? Of course not. Why would you? And now, alright, since that chiefess... he's an okay general. How about we just put her in charge of the main warband? Such as it is. Archers, chariots, and light cavalry seems like a fine loadout. I do want to build up, I do want to establish research momentum. So I'm thinking, you know, since my freemen and my citizens are going to be similarly miserable, I can take year in the year of Franks, the anniversary of the Franken times. So I can take each of these freemen, and they're less mad as citizens than they are currently as fremen. For each of these, I'm trading 7 manpower for 0.2 research. Yeah, already that's getting somewhere. By cleaning up the supply of Fremen. Allow some time to flow, and... cannot push the council button right now. The Panici family has been scorned. Seen here, the entire Panici family.
Beep.
Let's see also though, so we have 1.4 gold surplus, 64 manpower a month. So that's going to be 0.6, then 1.2, so 1.8. Yeah, a fair amount of cash to maintain a 222 main national warband. We'll have to see how well that holds up. I suppose it's worth saying 1.1 is still in beta right now as well. We're living over on the test branch. So, once more, the opening ambition is to unify Paris. Paris, the province. So, my first target, ideally, is Veliacasia. And be looking for any allies who would be good for a fight in that direction. I think once again we go in with Carnutia. And let's see, Sinonia. Yeah, Sinonia is its own thing. They're next on the list. Take Sinonian Sinonia and Sinonian non-Sinonia. For now, I can permit them. Just build this initial block out of our immediate vicinity. And with this loadout, they're really good at deception. Yeah, let's get devious. Yeah, slight deficit from running that composition. We need to find a fight. Which ideally will follow pretty quickly from summoning the council. Yeah, so the general event here, our advisors will make recommendations, agreeing with someone earns their approval, and scorning them earns their disapproval. So you have that split between, which of these is the better material choice? It's attacking Velicasia. And which of these is the better political choice? Maybe you go fight someone else because it's going to make you more popular with people whose support you need. Or you can just flip off the whole council and send them home. Fortunately, the council has told me what I already wanted to hear, so let's get ready. Time to fight soon. Maybe. Hard to say. Look how much of a league they've already got. So many of these powers are small. Interesting that dismissing the council doesn't have a consequence. You'd think you would make that the price of invoking the button in the first place. Attach a bit of a gamble to it. Carnutia is proposing a war of their own against Bitergia. No. We've made our general decision. We're going that way. Filter for region. Surprising number of folks with positive opinions of us. That's more like it. Now we cast them die. And get a lot of passive occupation from the capital fort. Got a strong zone of control on it. Alright, a battle. 10,000 of us v 6,000 of them. They are archers and chariots. We should have some flavor advantage there. We have better morale, equal discipline, tactic advantage. Their general is up 2 points on ours, though. Produced similar damage right up until reinforcements arrived, and their lines started to collapse. Good? Good. Victory, I suppose. That we're already 15% war score. Consider the big board for a moment here. 25, 5, and 8 against 9, 6, 3, 2. Got them very firmly outnumbered. Need to keep leveraging that properly. Those also just let me pop back out here. Okay, there's the visual. Us, them. I might be able to grab the rest of Paris in this as well, due to the alliances involved. Get it all in one clean slice. Yeah, I think we go into this fight. Yeah, that flips the odds. And in fact, dissuades them from crossing the river at all. Leaving these folks to get crunched up. I'm willing to be moderate about centralizing on this run. There's probably a feasible way to, like, rush settling into a republic. But it's bound to be high risk. May as well take it easy. So, let's just refresh. We saw all the requirements are the same here. Greater than 40 stability, a 50 or higher rated city, and increased council power. Where increased council power itself requires we neighbor an existing republic, or we have civic tech greater than 5. We'll be waiting a while for that. %, research efficient. A work in progress. Hold up, where are you retreating to? Makes you think you can plan your retreat through my territory. Well, the lack of a fortress or opposing army to smash into them. Obviously. The accelerating move would be to, once again, gut our tribesmen to create many citizens. Which, at least as far as how the numbers laid out, last run doesn't do well. Pernucia. Why? How could you say these things? Let's see, at this point, we've retained most of our fighting power. We've put a dent in the enemy's standing forces. Frick will be judging when it's the right time to settle in and besiege a fortress. Gotta read that tide of battle. Ganesha doesn't like me anymore. I would have to wait 3 years in order to bully one of the allies out of their part of the pie. Yeah, I'll turn about the other way. Clan retinues don't reinforce in foreign land. Interesting. That's a further limiting factor on them. Full occupation overrides the time limit. Could go for that then. Although, yeah, now there's 11,000 of you, so yeah. The other plan, the first one, to get out of here. They've gotten their act together for now. Game is slowly getting better at communicating any of what is happening. It will take time, though. Let's see though. Among laws, if I wanted to save up, I'm about to have enough oratory for a law. Laws cost stability and oratory together. Two things. Alright, so of these, what would I most want to pass? Trade 5 happiness per 10 output? Yeah, religious freedom is fine where it is. Infrastructure might be good. I think the main would just be to get that 10% tribesman output. %, tribesman output. Another clan chief would be nice. Do like the fighting animation. It's a lot of personality baked into that. So if I wanted to hire these mercenaries, $63. There's the necessary cash on hand. For a 552 led by a 13 skill general. Alright, good. Carnutia's getting into it over there. They're going to take the edge off of that force that repelled us. Good omens all around. Yeah, this war is under control now. If we could reoccupy Swissonia. Alright, so that's another thing that's lurking in here. So, yeah, inside of policies. Everything that was there before is still here. Wealth, conversion, assimilation, blood. The ones that they added, though... centralized population and decentralized population. Where both of them are a cut to output in exchange for free moving of pops, either inward towards the capital of the province, or trying to smooth out the population evenly across all of your cities. Which also plays into, there's a concept of population capacity per city now. And that is what granaries do instead of growth rate. Yeah, your buildings are tax up, manpower up, fort, and pop capacity. We have a button to spend civic power to improve development. They're slowly adding more buttons. Important, helpful buttons. Yeah, like these four. Military power for loyalty and output. Civic power for an extra building slot. And what each of these also do is you pay the power, start a timer. When the timer completes, the modifier goes down indefinitely. And... right, that's civic, that's oratory. Spend civic for building slot, oratory for trade route, religion for happiness. Yeah, so we could have up to 22 pops living in Lutetia, in the home swamp. Where again, as I acknowledged during the first pass, there's a lot of interesting foundations for systems here. There's some strong bones. They're now starting to attach meat to those bones. We got a couple of tendons. And let's see. Military traditions to look into. I didn't look up what raise levies as an ability does. So I'm not sure how worth it that is. It sounds like it's important to the playstyle. But I think, ahead of that, diving for the hunt. So else, with some of the things I did look up in between. So each column of one of these sets of military traditions is supposed to be themed on one of the major branches within that category. So the barbarian traditions here could be more, you know, politely called like the Celtic traditions, the Pan-Celtic. So you have like, one of these is Gaulish style, one of these is Iberian style, and one of these is Breton style. Or one of them is Germanic style. I don't recall if everybody over here is using the same tradition group as we are. So then, like, similarly, there's for each of the other zones, there's a recognition of a couple distinctive styles. But of course, you're free to just buy up from any of these. They're all having fun over there. We won't interrupt them. Right now, oratory is our best income. We're thinking about ways to sync scrolls. We will have assimilation to do after we make these annexations. Pretty sure these are... Yeah, the Belgians. We're taking on Belgians. A lot of documentation will be needed. Nice. Victory in that siege. Let's get my army over here in, like, defensive posture. Everything here is on the other side of the magic line between Celtica and Belgica. I'm not interested in taking any land off of them yet. can pass this law. Base rate of decay is 2% of neutralizing. So really, in its own way, this costs both scrolls and suns. Legal authority, now available. We'll just also pop over to the sages and process a hog. Which again, is no longer instant feedback. We've put a modifier down. There is upward pressure on the number. 0.2 per month for the next 5 years. Yeah, 57 to be 52. Yeah, 5 years. For a total of 12% stability over time. So Paris to me. Could not subjugate you over this. I suppose I could reward Bitergia or not bother with them. Yeah. Instead, just take a pile of cash. Because there's no drawback to taking cash back now. Knock you out of the war, add that province. And then over here for the main deal. Momentary interruption. Just confirming, yes, that's also on the Belgium side of the magic line. We're going to try to stay in one region for the first while just to simplify governance. Then we'll get fancy. Paris. And give me your money. Alright, good war. All of the numbers involved were much more manageable. So, 200 bucks. Yeah, also good to see from those changes, you're not spending building slots on Civ level, ever. Instead, you're spending government points. Sort of. Yeah, via this button. There's your urbanizing button. So I guess, building-wise, the capital would eventually want granaries once it's kind of big. Getting this level of manpower, in part because of the bonus from Borderland. Alright, I'll let a month pass and see what the state of the economy is. Defense League. The pre-Indo-European local power of... Interesting we have that much trade range. Alright, we'll sell those surplus vegetables. Oh, Basques. Yeah. I'd never heard that label applied to them. Also, let's see, diplomacy. Sitting at 4 out of 4 relations at the moment. I don't think I need to join a league. So, Paris, fully assembled. 2 wood, 1 woad, a vegetable, and a second vegetable that we're exporting now. Earthware, horses, honey, fur, and we were importing grain. Here. Yeah, that's culture map. Here be Basque Zone. Pre-Indo-European, Celtiberian, Iberian Classic, and so on. Planned retinues will make their way home in a moment. I didn't ally Sinonia, did I? Martalis, Tertia, Carnutia, Mundubia. There we go. So, the next target will be Sinonia. Where that's the big one, breaking into Sinonia and Tertia, the provinces. Making our way down into the heart of the arbitrary Celt zone. Policy on trade at this point is to move as many resources as we can for cash. Until such time as any specific resource has strategic value to pile up a bunch of it. So, on the economy tab. These are different things instead of just being a scale. Well, I suppose these are opposites of each other. And then the neutral position has its own purpose. So we're keeping that import route. It's our only import route. So where is population growth hiding this new layout? That's forward. That's development. Vertical bar. Here we are. In 527. Pretty slow growing. Alright, now we have a half gold surplus with the army we have in hand, and you know, the $200 to spend on something. Seems like a decent place to be. And we'll project what all these buildings are going to do for me. Which isn't too much, since we are pretty sparsely populated at the moment. Whole 0.2 income. I did that market. A whole 5 mans. You know, actually, having a level 2 fort might make Paris kind of unbreakable for the time being. Just get big. We don't need a granary yet. We're not even up to... We're not even close to the initial population capacity. Yeah, so I think 2 fort on the capital. And fort on the border. Keep watch over the river. Because yeah, if I have small forts here and here, that really firmly controls any attempt to cross Paris by a hostile force. How much does a fort rating cost me in upkeep? Nothing right now because the capital fort is free. Probably isn't more than half a gold a month. Don't see why it would be. Like that religious power. Stability is making its way back up. And let's see, I suppose we have some kind of cooldown. Yeah. In 460, we can summon the council again and go on another officially sanctioned war. Yeah, let's do some sports. We just won a big fight. Time to show off. Time to flex. Bread and circus. Alright, and I should go over our newly acquired territory. So, 4 pops here, 1 Fremen. We're now more Belgians than Bitergians. We brought in a lot of Belgians. I should probably flip to assimilation. Or let's think about this top-down. Do have all this oratory power sitting around. And our research ratio got worse. Naturally, not that much citizenry among the new territory. Yeah, I'll use the policy for that. Sports. Get in there. So another change here. The principle behind civil wars and rebellions of some percentage of your country being disloyal starts charging this bar. That's the same. How that is measured has been altered. So there's a concept of power base, where you have your provinces, and then inside of your provinces, there's holdings that can be property of characters and give them income. Number of available holdings determined by how much slave labor there is available. And so what matters is how much of that is disloyal to you. Sports! And then, of course, so longer-term goal, form republic, form Gaul, Gaul up. Become the French 0th Republic. Perhaps even the negative 1st Republic. First get stable, and get big. So, clear out all my Fremen again. Slight cost of manpower, but, you know, Fremen are a bit dead weight. They may as well be angry citizens doing research, as barely they are able. Here in these ancient, forgotten times, thousands of years before the birth of Robespierre. For now, 6K seems like a correct army size to keep standing around. We can afford that reasonably. Especially if I get more exports going. I'm done aggressing. I'm not going to aggress west for now. So that's an acceptable alliance. Current block of... Yeah, that works. It's kind of... Here in the general Parisian vicinity. Bowman's still going. I think I promote my slaves. Wife, why have you done this? Why did you try to kill the High Priest? Stop that. This is not what is meant by sports. And alright, get the assimilation focus running. Okay, let's get a representative sample here, though. For the tribesmen, it doesn't matter. They're all fine. For any settled people, though, it is a noticeable difference. You have gotten slightly worse at fighting. Oh, and that annulled the marriage. Well then. Yeah. Welcome aboard. Yes, I'm looking to assimilate. Looking to promote slaves out of position for now. You want to scrape up as many citizens as I can. Well, I suppose I could invest more of my civic power into big money, into inventing, into the real heavy ideas. So it's time to get the council together again. You with your 8 cohorts and your 2 allies. Yeah, by pop count, we're reasonably hefty now. Mercantile stance. Mercantile stance. Shameful. Well, now we know what that murder was about. The money's already gone. Crime is unsolvable. Yes, that's almost 1,000 bodies a year. We have some limited capacity to replace cohorts. Just kind of chilling out for some years until we can generate our next claim. Hopefully, the War Council will at least partially agree that Sinonia is our next natural target. I mean, just look at him. Look at that fur. That grain. Look at getting us closer to the iron. All the places that iron is known to exist. One of them's this way. Currently in Bitergia. 165 religion for 10 immediate stability. Yes, that's 2 less overall stability, but it's all at once. Compared to the usual swine piercing. Yeah. Yeah, sure, that's a great deal. Stabilize now. Centralization slowly rising, gives us civ level, cuts into clan retinues, gives us discounts on promoting Fremen. And then in turn, civ level gives us capacity, supplies, happiness. So rude. They're just jealous of our new fort. Yeah, the tribes mostly don't care about assimilation. Still gonna work on it, but it can wait. Important is getting the citizens on side to continue to 62. Gradually scraping our way up to having any research. Blessings worn off. Save up for a new omen. Oh yeah, the ledger is back. They'd left this out. It's back. Numbers. Lists. Summaries. They're in our defense league, though. They're unlikely to attack us. They just don't want the active alliance. And now they left the league. Well, that's their choice. We're still a small power. There's a lot of waiting involved. Gradually assimilate these Belgians. What else could I do with this much oratory, though? Population growth is fine to see. My taxes are mostly from tribesmen. And are in turn most of my cash. They're trading 10 commerce for 20% on tribesmen. That's a sizable cash gain. Acceptable. Yes, we'll also hammer on this. That and passing trusted attaches in a bit. Where the stability cost becomes more of an issue than the scroll cost. We have a lot of scrolls. Chief Butte is very literate. Profoundly well-read. Very charismatic. Tech rate is garbage now. Well, that's probably directly tied into the happiness. Our citizens are not terribly productive. How much overkill do we have on tribesman happiness? Base of 100. I want to figure out, because I am gutting a bunch of positive happiness modifiers. I want to know when I cross the line back into having actual discontent. Figure out how much of this I can reasonably sacrifice. Also, that was a mistake. That's overbuilt. Let me pop 2 archers back out of this formation and disband them. Someday the 8,000 unit. the really big change that happens when we settle and urbanize the government is losing this modifier. Suddenly being able to afford many more soldiers on a permanent basis. Okay, or one gold per fort level. That's simple. Could buy more import routes with all my scroll mana. That would be pretty strong. Yeah, I think that's the move here. We've fiddled with a couple of laws. And that's all well and good, but hey, what if we could import a lot of stuff into Paris? Every 3.5 years, I could create another import slot. Not bad. I would have this button, like, active half of the time. Certainly something to set in motion while we're waiting for the War Council of 460. Now, are you going to invite me into this league so you can immediately insult me, break our alliance, and then leave the league you invited me to? I'm looking over there and seeing you have a CB against me. I don't approve of this. See if we can get some good technology omens going. That last law that I would adjust. Trading 20 happiness for 25 tax. Being the main thing, yeah. Let's put attaches in there. Let's get very tenuous about stability. Let's create risk of civil war. It's fine. We can wait this out. 39 months. We'll have earned enough suns. Throw a festival, everything will be fine. Yes, another thing they've added for character management, you can hold trials, where you initiate an event chain to try and take a, disloyal and devious character and wrangle them into prison legitimately by following all the proper procedures. It could backfire if you do it wrong. Starts an event chain. You are hemorrhaging loyalty, since you have your loyal soldiers. So are you, but you have more of a backlog. What kind of personal finances does the chief have right now? $200. He can afford a bribe. Gets things back under control for a while. The hitboxes for some of these buttons, or no, each section of this bar, if clicked, brings up the most relevant of the submenus. Neat. What does being out of money do for us? Event chains that will gradually push us back to 0. Crusader King style dead, confirmed. Negative number is fine. Debts happen. So, War Council in winter of 460. Good omens all around. Get stability back up, and that'll cushion everything else. Behold, a children. Ambition, live to adulthood. So we're solvent again. Our army exists. Have the big fort. Taller than anyone else's fort. Assimilation is coming along nicely. Tech rate is still garbage, though. Just the usual. Alright, so you were attacking Lixovia and Marinia. You are attacking the coast and calling on all of your immediate vicinity friends. Alright, let's get in on this. I mean, the council gives us a claim, it doesn't force us to act on it immediately. So we'll have plenty of opportunity. And the opposition is numerous, but not too heavily armed. Yeah, we'll go in there, break some heads, steal some cattle. The usual. Fundamentals of battle. 200 and 200. Get 5 years of boost. Not yet. I am going for those traditions and for those import slots. Make sure all my generals are attempting whatever tactic best fits them. Okay, we've gotten overextended. But maybe it's fine. Deception seems to be pretty effective in the Belgium meta right now. dealing heavy morale damage and getting similar kill numbers while outnumbered 2-1. And that's before the reinforcements are piling in. We have some leverage here. Our mastery of horse. That's right, come at us. And yeah, just to be certain of the breakdown here, there's one neutral party right down the middle. Then everything else here is in play. We've backed up against their fort. Here's the point where we back off and go looking for another, army fight. Take a moment to reinforce and survey the scene. Probably going to be hard to ask for alliances while we're in the middle of a fight. We go north. Go north, sack a bunch of these cities, and probably, put the clamps on the Morenian army up there. So the moment the fort falls, we can charge in and crush these folks. Rude. Or they'll take care of it themselves. Which is fine. That frees us up to go repel those raiders. These intruders. The double trident is a nice little banner there. Alright, so Marinia has been fully overrun. Now we're looking for another decisive battle. That could be the one. Yeah, the numbers definitely seem to work much better here. These are manageable army sizes around which to conduct a Thunderdome. Numbers are perhaps slightly more real. I suppose another important check to make there. What kind of attrition are we taking? Oh, the war ended. Never mind. Good job, everyone. Oh, and I can afford that, trade route. Invest. Someone got what they wanted. Wars can end. They still don't think that telling you the outcome of the war you were just participating in is important information. They're working on it. These things take time. Months and months of time. Right, citizens also make commerce value, though. Yeah, that's the ticket. So, blessing citizen output is also improving our cash flow. Do have an open diplomacy slot. Circassia seems more advantageous there. Since, again, the time has passed, so let's get the council together. The chief of the Gulbies would rather attack Rovnica, which is what? Green friends, West was, who were rude to us. That much is true. So, yeah, the Kulshis and the Gulbies disagree on target, so either way I'm losing the loyalty of a clan chief for now. It's one or both. Yeah, both. I can take measures to keep them in line. Give one a bribe, throw the other a party. Now we can start planning for war. You are still just slightly disloyal. I will give each of you a free hand. I mean, they're also both kinda old. Well, he's less old. This one's very old, though. Whereas the chief, only 44. He'll be with us for a while. Attack you right now. 3 hostile allies. But 3 loyal allies as well. So, 8, 9, 6 versus 10, 11, 7. That seems like a reasonable fight. So we have to wait till summer before we'll have contact. Would give his loyalty time to turn around as well. We're almost done assimilating. Once that's all together, we can also flip policy to anything else. Maybe cash? Not quite sure I want to start calling for raiding parties yet. I mean, eventually we're going to invest in the hunt. Plus 10 morale for that unit type we don't bother with. Guess the chiefs are sometimes buying light infantry. And there's nothing stopping me from using light infantry. It's only a dead draw for now. Back up in 74. So, we declare right now, looking to take Bitergia. Where there is fur and cloth. Okay, you know what? Let's make a comparison here between light infantry and skirmishers. Skirmishers take extra morale damage and have more supply weight. Well, javelin hurlers and our light infantry, which are called skirmishers. Whereas the skirmishers take less morale damage. And now have that plus 10 morale. With the drawback of they have damage penalties against like every real type of unit. Whereas the archers have a damage benefit against light infantry and are neutral against everything else. Most everything else. It's an odd balance to consider. Question would be what to swap out in their place. The next bonus on that path is to chariots and light cavalry. Although, once we've gotten to Glory of the Hunt, I will want to go down the right-hand tree. To say, plus 10 national manpower. That will buff archers. Do we replace the chariots with light infantry and use archers as our second line? Or use light infantry as our second line? things to think about. Our 10 against our 14. And everything along the lines of the alliances seems in our favor. And all the allies are conveniently positioned to get in here and join the fight. Arnusha can kind of flank us. So the opening move would be to hold back a bit, wait for our allies to pile in, and then crunch whoever advances on us. Then go on the attack. Our second import is online. Although... it's because we lack points. It is in fact a lack of surplus goods. Up for export. Wild. Well, we could import something. That'll probably become an internal route since there's gonna be surplus things over here. Alright, let's pick some fights then. Most of the enemy is going over there. We'll try to drive a wedge into them. So, the regions in question. Once again, an enemy co-belligerent controls a little bit of the target zone. We should probably punish Carnutia for interfering. Oh, retreating even farther. When we have the cash, those 2 extra forts will be used to better secure Paris. What kind of attrition rates do we get? 1%. Yeah, so we have a manpower income that means we're close to breaking even while running a siege. Which really is that bare minimum that you need. You only take damage from real battles. You can sustain occupation. If you're doing nothing, you recover. If you're occupying, you're neutral. When you have a fight, you get set back. Well, the chief is dead. Fold those units into the main army. And force the question of, do I toss out these chariots? I may just do that. Yeah, we have cash to run in the red for a bit for now. We allow this. And this is their only fort, so once we can snap this, that'll let us put Carnucia out of the fight entirely and then redirect our attention into Sinonia proper. There was mention in the dev blogs, in the patch notes, of wanting to tune up the supply of manpower. Of acknowledging that it was a bit tight. Things have improved. Alright, so all of that will be handled shortly. Yeah, I'm gonna buy another import route. I'm down for that. eventually there will be goods to flow into Paris. Soon and then evermore. Alright. There's you properly roughed up. Good stuff. Which brings a bit of wine. Finally. I'm thinking these provinces together will give us enough income to justify more forts. $16,000 seems to be the entire opposing army. And this is the main opposing fort. With another target up over there. Yes, again, I'll take the chance to instant buy stability. That's a good rate. And yeah, some hours into the session, new patch holding up well so far. It brings options. The numbers are a bit better calibrated. Yeah, I think I'll take that fight. You want it, come get it. It is still the case that we have cavalry and they do not. That is the big X factor. We of the horse-having tribes. Taking a lot of damage, but getting through their morale. Just kick these remaining chariots into a ditch. Oh, nice. Speed along this occupation. Or wait, you extend all the way back here. You do have a second fort you've managed to build for yourself, Sinonia. Suppose I should keep the pressure on then. Since the stretch goal would be to seize both provinces at once. Ending up in that much better a position as a result. Yeah, good ratios. Lucia wants to buy Parisian wood. The other one. Oh wait, no, Buit Colchi, not Buit Corius. In our lands, there are many buttes. The Nietzsche family, still scorned. Well, you're also terrible at everything. Sitting here, deceitful, suspicious, depressed, stubborn, somehow prominent, famous for being just the worst. They submit. Got there. I'll kick out the light infantry and keep the chariots for now. The current spread of units seems to be working fine. Then let's see here. Just added fur cloth and some local grain. Surplus grain would be worth even more manpower. Bringing in the cloth would be worth tax value for now. Fur would give unit experience. Surplus grain would add population capacity. Guess bring in the local cloth then. And then over here we have added grain, cloth, vegetables, livestock. Haul in that grain as well. +2 grain. The citizens are actually happy-ish. As long as they are in the capital itself. If I had more laurels, I could start dragging them all into the city where it is much nicer. We have walls. So I got to keep this fortress. Where else would forts have to go? A bunch of these places have buildings in them already that I'd have to tear down. One here, covering all of that. So a next one would ideally be at Finesse. Have a good overlap. Or in Belka. Or the more aggressive fort placement to just kind of stab Carnouche in the gut. Constantly remind them of their defeat. That's the right way to go about this. Spite play. And move up to 4 cavalry. Research ratio is still bad. Think about getting rid of more Fremen. Alright, let's see. What's our culture split here? Belgians and mostly Bitergian over here, but more Belgian over here. People looking to buy fur. Yeah, I like the aggressive zone of control as a feature. There's a reason to have forts jammed right up there on the fighting line. Sergia proper. Looking for an alliance. I could accept that for now. Want my ambitions more southeast for a bit. I kill you last. Allow tribesmen to migrate. Yeah, most of my laurels are spoken for trying to promote more Fremen. See if we can tank a bit of unrest in pursuit of loyalty. And we are still solvent at 12,000 units in the army. Chariots cost only half as much as heavy cavalry. Yeah, that's the main thing. That's what I would sub them out for with our current resource base. Use the big horses as shock units. Someday, goal. I'm not sure why this is visible to us even as a decision. Like, there is usually logic in place for, like, only showing you things that you in some way tangentially qualify for. Like, they can group decisions. Limit their visibility to the places where it makes sense. I think most of our laws are where I want them for now. Yeah, until it's time to actually empower the council and form the bureaucracy. We have our full suite of alliances in place. We're still considered local. We got big enough to hit next tier, we might be able to start extorting some tributaries. On sheer reputation. But a whole 113 manpower monthly. That's tangible. You can achieve a couple of things with that. Going for a quick hog slice. Single slave. A doublet of slaves. And it does mention on the breakdown there that this one would be less productive for that conversion, as they are Belgian and thus furious with us about everything. Of course, for our first tech up in 75. As early as 71. For our more on-point offices. Markets wouldn't be worth much anywhere yet. Training camps also still pretty small. I mostly care about forts for leverage against our rivals. Okay, we're gonna end up down 1 gold a month once this fort is done. Need to find some further supply of cash. That could be a reason to disband the chariots. Start relying on the families for shock troops. Six aggression. Bleeding out by 0.05 each month. Potentially 12 years of aggression to burn down. Doesn't cause problems until you hit 50. Province loyalty is starting to stabilize. That's important. Promoting tribesmen anywhere would still be a loss. Someday we'll find that tipping point. I like what they do with stability cost now. Like, they actually, alongside converting to this 100-point scale, they did increase the stability cost of a lot of things one way or the other by then pegging things to sensible proportions of that. 1/4 of your entire stability bar for a no CB attack. 3/4 of your stability bar to break a truce. That's hefty. Whereas 5 out of 100 stability just for being a jackass. Just for your random number jostling event. That's more gentle, and all the important things are more harsh. Yeah, invest some laurels into doing this, because hey, these 55% happy, 53% happy citizens, much closer to functional. Need a new bodyguard. Up to 61% tech ratio. Yeah, the rating is making its way up there on its own. Both provinces now have their loyalty stabilized. Although, wait, so... Council powers just needs Tech 5. Yes, Informed Democracy still needs that 50 points of civ level in the capital. So I should maybe start funneling laurels into that instead. Could push this button a bunch. Well, not terribly a bunch, since it's gonna take a while to charge up. That's like every 4 years being able to push that button. Chief's reasonably popular. Let's throw in other sports to keep that up. And in 73, we hold our next war council. Of the available targets, fighting Sinonia again wouldn't be bad. Going over after Mandubia, also good. Yeah, because we'd like to extend our control of either of these existing states. In particular, hey, there's that iron. So the options would be Mandubia or betraying Bitergia and attacking them. For that iron. That big iron. Whichever direction we go, we got a good wall of forts going on to hold back the opposition. And let's see, this way we would add hemp, honey, wood, and salt. Following up against Sinonia, hemp, earthware, wood, livestock, and fur. And going into Bitergia would be earth, wine, horse, other fur, livestock, iron, and some base metal. I mean, they're already in another war that doesn't involve us. We were not asked to be involved. They end up weakened. Who's to say we won't have to move in there and protect them? Alright, Belgian assimilation is continuing at a smooth pace. Five tyranny. But it would take 100 months to bleed that off for $100. Yeah. And tyranny creates some unhappiness, some disloyalty, in exchange for slave output, and easier time imprisoning and executing people. Which probably generates more tyranny. Oh wait, it's 100 per button push. So every other year I could be pushing the city button. I can about keep pace with the refresh rate on urbanization. For the price of an invention, I can push the city button. Yeah, most of these don't matter too much to me right now. I've gotten all the ones that, seem relevant to the current situation. %27% is our passive level. Most of our settlements are working their way up there. What if I need boat morale? It's a good question. Yeah, I think that's where my laurels are going for a while. Going from tribesmen to fremen is still a slight negative, even in our biggest city. Eventually the pivot will be to go from our assimilation we've been doing for now over to civilizing. That will gradually settle our tribesmen. Start pushing the button. After a couple generations of this, we can have 50 points of city. Stability is good for research. Research for cash. For growth, and it insulates against civil war. Our first advances. Science is underway. That's 29. We only need 20 points of local boost. Although, even less than that, since we need to be at Civic 5 anyway. Civic 6. Our current air candidate is pretty good at civics. Although, chiefdoms. It's seniority succession. It's very difficult to say who will be alive when it is time to hand down the crown. Who will be alive, what state they will be in, how long they will remain alive after getting on the chair. Georgia victorious. Up some land. Carnutia is weak. Would be nice to have tributaries. Talk it out at the War Council next spring. We'll hear all the options. Boosted capacity. Yeah, there we go. This is where my oratory goes. Speed up all this assimilation. Anywhere that it really creates tangible benefit. Since I don't have much else to throw oratory at. Which again remains the thing that's not great about the 4 power flavors is that there's not much balance in how useful each of them is right now. Not much power to, liquefy one and direct it into the others. Choice between upsetting the arbitrator or upsetting Chief of the Gelby. The arbitrator is much more replaceable. Okay, we've shored up cultural unity here. And yeah, looking ahead. Mostly, we're not going to see any Belgians in this direction. There are other local subcultures that we'll have to mulch in, going further east and south. This is kind of the heartland. Over here, we can now focus on wealth. For now. Yeah, wealth. We have development. We don't need to be terribly more urbanized until we're a ways down the line. Yeah, the pie chart really should have some kind of separate coloration for within a group. Because that split does matter for our situation, and it's refusing to show up on this chart. Like, how many regions are there where the population isn't all the same group, at least? You have to start getting into some of the denser parts of the Middle East before we see that level of diversity. Yeah, like, okay, on the Nile Delta, you will see many culture groups. Out here in the, well, I suppose we're not in the wood part. We're in the swamp part. But out here, Gaul-wise. Yeah, keep pressing this button. Gotta build our powerful swamp fort. And it is time for War Council. Not yet. Now, it is time for War Council. In Israel, where is that? Ah, up north. Where there is currently 0401. Now then, the council. Support to attack Sinonia, Madubia, or Bravicia. All fine candidates for a throwdown. Sinonia is absolutely destroyed right now. Though they are the best connected in terms of defensive allies. 12. "26 cohorts for them. $33 for us. Yeah, that's still... That's a perfectly cromulent war there. And no one important is going to get too mad over that decision. So we take the shot. Alright, so they said they wouldn't join this war for, you know, perfectly valid political reasons, and then I was able to call them in anyway. That's intriguing. Alright, so now that every fortress isn't a death trap, I feel confident in looking at this war and saying that the way we do it is we divide and conquer the little parties. We can knock Carnusha out, maybe even tributary them instead of taking any land. Then turn around and crush Sinonia, and then proceed against our primary target. Probably keeping everyone else fended off all the while between, you know, our big array of forts and our many associates. And in the event of an emergency, we have enough cash that I could hire the mercenaries. Vidordori over there. He's got a fine crew. A loud and rowdy warband. And our angry fort gets to do a little bit of work. Just poking at him. Making demands. Taking names. I think I should get in here and make sure that this battle tips in the right direction. If I can. Bit of a toss-up, but the woods are on our side there. Scooch in with the clan troops at the last minute. And win the day. An absolute and undeniable, very Parisian victory. We take full responsibility for the glory and the triumph. Is anyone else starting to get tech? No, not yet. We are ahead of our peers, though of course behind the republics. 75%. Promoting Freeman where we find them. A little dicey to have my army spreading out like this. Clan retinues are among the cloud of all the allied soldiers. We have kind of a good thing going on. Alright, so they will fall down shortly. Next target is to press in on Sinonia. Alright. Good times. Keep shoring up that economy. The main obstacle will be how much the raw mass of age we have back here is able to hinder our war score. Set up a market. What kind of leverage we can get in the city. Yeah, this has definitely been elevated back to playable, to alright. It's still a bit dry, but it has texture. There's a more understandable tide of battle. Decent sense of initiative. How corrupt is the chief? Barely at all. In fact, not at all. None corruption. Swamp Island Chief is a very honorable and upright fellow. Yeah, the corruption sink idea is probably doing a lot of work for just keeping the country on the rails. Now our victorious armies can just march into the woods, press onto the fort. Skill 3 general leading the clan troops, though. Not a great look. Yeah, let's get the main army to wheel over there. Rescue them. If at all possible. Yeah, we might intervene in time. One defeat, but the follow-up battle begins immediately. We have horses, they do not. With this, we are undefeatable. Annex Sinonia. And now we go regional. For a trade route, integration speed, more relation slots, more diplo range, 2 more clan chiefs, more sensitivity to civil war and rebellion, and double our government bonus. Our former allies are now guaranteed protection. And what do we do with the Sinonian elite? $90 popularity to spend. Adopt the one largest family and then crucify the rest. Good times. So, what have we added now? Barest slice of this province. Still a bit more of it to take from Sicania. Who go right up to the Alps and are also of moderate size. What's our pop count now? 136. We're very sparsely populated. Nice, more business. And yeah, assimilation policy has gone on by default. Four citizens, 10 tribesmen, a slave, and a freedman. Still kind of toeing the line at 75%. And we get a fortress that is covering the area pretty well. We got reasonably tough landscape going on. Got to push for the actual war goal, which won't be too hard now that we've kind of broken the back of the enemy army. Need to claim that fort. And I'll be annexing them as well. I'll leave it at that, since that's fairly tangible progress. Yeah, on both provinces. We'll want to drum up a separate CB for plunging into the next layer. No imports available. The economy is still so young. Yes, just immediately. Just one button here has radically improved the pace of the game. Don't save up points to buy a claim to start a fight. That's something you must do instead of having done something else with your scrolls. At a regular scheduled interval, push the war button and get the crew together to decide where you want to fight. Your ability to justify violence isn't competing. Oh, also, they put weather in. There is a weather system. Storms can happen and meander about the map and cause local debuffs. There's snow here. Yeah, this button, probably also reasonably powerful. I think right now... Yeah, we don't have... Oh, we have 10%. Base of 5, and then 5 more for being tribal. So, organizing raiding parties would double our enslavement chance, and picking up the hunt will, yeah, triple our base rate. We'll be up to 30% on whatever scale this number functions on. We'll probably take a lot of prisoners as we go about fighting in the future. Yeah, there's all of our newly reinforced clan troops. Probably gonna end up doing internal imports after we've sieged this new land. We'll end up with even more of some things. Yeah, I think we side with our extremely powerful general, who is central to the ongoing survival of the tribe. I think her honor is pretty well proven. Yeah, they have more fort back here. Folks have a pretty tough core. We'll have the clan troops just kind of go about the countryside being rowdy. See if we can get some prisoners out of it.
Beep.
Not going to take anything from Red in this war. My aggression is already fairly warm. Though on the other hand, what do we got down here? Base metal, cloth. Base metal, vegetables and wood. And then over here, wood and livestock. Yeah, useful stuff, but not world-shattering. Siege has not yet been won. Things just got too crowded, and the siege progress was no longer visible. Yeah, right, now we have new inventions, like Siege Up. Inventions like Fug. Grain rations, yes. Local maximum of 32. We managed to start propping up the city. There's that point in the combat animation where there's just a punch. The highest levels of the arts. I'm gonna leave them alone. It is important to get recovery time between wars as well. I could get rid of some aggression with banishments. Yeah. There's also sense in that. Alright, so take stock. Now we have more folks that need assimilating. Research rate's still holding up. Alright, so fort distribution remains okay. We have only a handful of unguarded provinces. That's all well and good. So an important economic tipping point is when I can give myself a lot of slaves so that I can start generating multiple units of trade good from any given province. To either stack up the modifiers for those goods or to trade them around for more cash. Pretty decent chunk of citizens in the land that we've been taking in. We have maintained our tech rate while doing it. That was 5,000 manpower. Which is not terribly catastrophic. As long as we can keep Lucas here reasonably on the up and up. That's 5,000 bodies for the army that I don't have to pay the salaries of. Not bad. I can work with that. And that is another nicely positioned border fort for menacing our neighbors. When we do go out for another round of fighting in this direction, got that foot in the door. Got that room for more diplomacy, though. Who are our new peers? Who else has reached the next level? Sequania, who is in our way. And there is no one in the world with a positive opinion of us right now. As can happen. We've become the big fish. So from this position, yeah, we have the War Council with which to continue making aggressions. And our way to get in on things otherwise would be in an interventionist role. Use guarantees to assert a sphere of influence and then punish anyone who disrupts it. Loyalty in the new province is pretty low. But only just going negative. That should work out. We're close to breaking even, and each conversion will bring us closer to that line. How are we looking overall now? 160 pops. Compared to 173, 65, 116, 57... 900 in Rome. 1100 in Carthage. 1300 in Egypt. 3000 in Phrygia. 700 in Macedon. 50 Spartans. 4,700 Seleucids. 6,000 in Moriah. Nine in Eleusia. Some years to the next war council. Some years to the next games. Lost our grain import. Well, gotta go into the sport pit. Someday there will be stuff to bring into the capital. Paris is open for business. We do not have access to any source of elephants. Tragic. Sometimes that's just how it goes. A miraculous recovery from disease, thanks to sports. Still gain popularity for showing up and losing. It's about the game. It's about the traditions. Yeah, we're not at risk of rebellion at the moment. Things are holding together. Tech rate 78. Next wave of advances in 85. Yeah, all throughout the late 80s into the 90s. Supposing I don't, slip down there and remove more of these Fremen. %, attack rate. We're very close to achieving nominal, regular research. Which is more than most of our peers, apparently. That's a good chunk of the way towards, first objective here. The opening milestone. Still have several more states to bite into. Yeah, in terms of just number of states that we have a hook in, we're halfway there. Gotta finish these 3 off and then move on into the south. And to the land of the cubes. Endeavor to one day reach the mountain. And then after that's shored up, we can start thinking about making really decisive moves into like Aquitania and Belgica. And so on. Maybe you just go for Transalpine Gaul? We'll have to see how far along the Romans are by the time we're in that kind of position. They're gonna keep creeping their way up here. If they're still on near side of the Alps, as we call the far side of the Alps, we might be free to continue going about our business. But if they have successfully noodled their way out here by then, suddenly, all the metrics change. Try and get as much power as we can concentrated onto Swamp Island. Before the Romans appear. And yeah, just ditch all of these. It's kind of inconvenient that the clans don't, automatically inherit their own retinue. Assimilation policies have been working well. economy is reasonably close to break-even point. And we are making progress. Up the river, away from the city. "480 years since that city Paris has made a mark. Paris is ready for business. And Imperator seems okay.